Restored Republic via GCR update for December 6, 2016. A. Judy note. 1. Evidently grandfather and the Chinese elders have released the funds and tiers 1, 2 and 3 have been exchanging. We were expecting our tier 4 internet group to begin yesterday December 5, 2017, which didn't happen. 2. On that December 5, Yosef reported that global banks wouldn't release their nation's public 800 numbers to begin redemption until the Paris Agreement received two-thirds majority support. 70% of all nations became GCR compliant and 90% of carbon-emitting nations reduced their footprint, which would allow the UN Security Council to release the GCR. 3. Russia appeared to be the kingpin to make that happen. When Russia agreed to an oil production level with OPEC and non-OPEC oil-producing nations, it would jolt the Paris Agreement to over 70% sovereign nation participation and thus launch the RV. 4. Some have reported that Russia is already in agreement, and according to Wildfire Lady below, 79% of countries have already ratified the agreement. Inteldinachronicles.blogspot.com web link. B. December 5, 2016 11:42 p.m. East. Wildfire Lady, Paris Agreement GCR guest post by Wildfire Lady. Inteldinachronicles.blogspot.com web link. 1. For those that don't read the small print, I was a bit confused after reading this until I took time to read the link tracker. The blog made me think initially we had another stall until the crude oil prices were to stabilize, which to me seemed impossible. Then I checked the facts. 2. There have been 193 countries that have signed the Paris Agreement. Of those, 115 have ratified or joined. This equals 79%. 2. Enforce 55% of the countries were needed to ratify the agreement and 70% sovereign nation participation. In other words, we have our 70% to launch the RV. 3. Also, for those not aware of St. Germain's Trust, it can only be implemented during Christmas or Easter time. With grandfather's release we can now expect our blessings at any time. Thank you again, grandfather. God is great. Wildfire Lady. C. December 6, 2016 5:39 a.m. East. Veritas, shifting gears. A Veritas report the 12th of June 2016 Inteldinachronicles.blogspot.com web link. See contents of post below in D. 1. I now know what happened, on Monday, December 5th. I cannot share it all, but I will share what I can. 2. Man, I was so excited. The build-up. The anticipation. It was more than ever before and I was ready. 3. Then you wake up and it didn't happen again. Silence through the day. Frustrating. 4. Then on top of that you read a post like Unraveled and you become unraveled. What the heck? 5. It all comes down to who pushes the button, doesn't it? For over 2 decades that has been the real question. We all just never knew it. Well, we are about to know it. 6. I believe, last night, was just that sickening moment when things start to unravel, but then it slides into place and everything is all right. 7. We are all still in this together. We will need each other. The second I can explain all this to you, I will. I'm here. Veritas. D. December 6, 2016 12:40 a.m. East. Release changed to December 9 through 16. We must wait until December 9. Yours, anonymously, the 6th of December 2016 Inteldinachronicles.blogspot.com web link. 1. The next key date we need to look out for, appears to be, December 9. 2. OPEC will hold talks with non-OPEC producers on the 9th of December to agree on oil production cuts. Russia is a non-OPEC producer and make up the lion's share of this group. 3. It is this agreement that will stabilize oil prices at a level, so all participating oil producers are comfortable, or accept to live with the revenue they will generate for their countries. 4. Based on the assumptions of what is specifically still required to achieve the desired outcome, in order to release the RVGCR, through the Paris Agreement figures, is if Russia agree to reduce 300,000 barrels of oil per day from their production, it seems the remaining balance or production cuts will have to be shared by the other non-OPEC producers. OPEC have already agreed as a group, their production cut levels. 5. It is stated that grandfather has done his part last week, knowing that Russia will officially agree to their oil production cut, that they already agreed to previously, in principle, on December 9. Grandfather and Russia were probably waiting for OPEC to finally agree to their oil production cuts, to ensure all oil producers are satisfied. 6. I suppose the next port of call in terms of timing is how long after the meeting on December 9 will the countries take to ratify the Paris Agreement, reduce carbon emission output, to reach the said two-thirds majority support, to trigger the release of the RVGCR? 7. I am thinking it will take up to circa 7 days after the December 9 meeting, so December 16. 8. Unoperational rates, exchange rates, are next released on December 15. December 5, 2016, 8:44 p.m. East Paris Agreement equals GCR, Paris Agreement GCR RV Op-Ed, December 5, 2016 Paris Agreement Tracker, ratified countries OPEC to seek more oil output cuts from non-members. 1. Once the price of crude oil settles, the Paris Agreement will receive two-thirds majority support and 70% of all nations will become GCR compliant. 2. Russia must feel confident they'll agree to an oil production level with OPEC and non-OPEC oil-producing nations, which will jolt the Paris Agreement to over 70% sovereign nation participation and thus launch the RV. 3. When 90% of carbon-emitting nations reduce their footprint, it will allow the UN Security Council to release the GCR RV. 4. This will allow all global banks to release their nation's public 800 numbers to begin redemptions. 5. Grandfather set up the public release of the RV to follow the Paris Agreement, which is why he went ahead and did his part last week. F. December 5, 2016, 7:49 p.m. EST Assessment of GCR, RV Release Time. The Unraveling, Assessment of GCR, RV Release Timing, December 5, 2016. 1. Banking Board of Directors worldwide will not and cannot authorize payouts for any historical assets until the new global monetary authority flips currency rates, and even then, all must still wait on their domestic treasuries to give their nation's banking systems the necessary approval to begin T4 intake, currency redemptions. 2. All governments globally are now being held responsible, hostage, for all their banks' balance sheets, which is the biggest structural change in the new financial system outside of the reinstitution of the gold standard. 3. Any bank can now lose its operating charter with just one bad quarter, one bad loan or even one bad wire, anywhere in the world. And the government that allowed such an activity will also be held accountable in international court if need be. 4. Our currency redemption weight is not on the Chinese elders or grandfather, as they have been long completed their required tasks. The real work remains with individual governments, existing leaders, new leaders attempting to achieve GCR compliant status within their own nation so that their country and population can participate under the constraints of this new financial system. 5. The 209 sovereign nations agreed to this settlement process, aka unraveling, back in 2015 and we now implementing in 2016. So they've all had more than enough time to make necessary adjustments. Some just waited until the last possible negotiating second. 6. This includes the immediate settlement of all ancient fiscal arrears, which banks and corporations universally were told would be wrapped up before 2017, with no exact date given. 7. Only once all diplomatic, military and financial issues have been deemed legally satisfied via the terms and conditions of international law, all governments by default of newly signed treaties, will not be allowed to release individual account monies. 8. Some banks have chosen to issue short-term loans against hard or liquid assets, and some others have been willing to engage in SKR currency transactions with existing clientele lest any release of significant additional liquidity. None have yet to do an actual currency redemption for any first basket revaluation currency. 0. 9. No global bank dare begin redeeming T4 currencies at unapproved rates because they risk losing their ability to conduct business permanently, and thus realistically miss out on the most abundant cash flow in recorded human history. It's therefore banking suicide to begin redemptions prematurely. December 5, 2016 Amendment Bill. 1. Several of my sources are in direct contact with those in banking, finance and government. They say that they are pushing hard to get this done. 2. IMO news coming out of Iraq is incredibly good and shows they are on the brink of completion, but have not yet been given the green light to officially approve their budget and other actions. 3. Iraq, Vietnam, Iran, Zimbabwe and all other GCR countries will participate in the GCR. 4. Over the past 100 years politicians, bankers, cartels and the very rich and powerful have sucked the world dry in their desire for wealth, power and control. 5. What we are witnessing with Brexit, the election of Donald Trump and rejection of Euro in Italy, with potential of more to follow, is a referendum against those who have failed in their responsibilities over decades. It cannot continue, and that has been recognized by some. 6. Ika Ward has gone dark, and over the past week Catalina, Rocker 66 and Awake in 3D have sent their regards. 7. Let's see what happens today and tomorrow. H. December 5, 2016, 12:54 p.m. EST. Anon, the corrupt process of the exchange, anonymous guest post. 1. The RV has already started, we just haven't been invited. Tier 1, 2, and 3 have cashed in. This fact is not in dispute. 2. I know several people on these tiers. These are the people who cashed in for quints and quads and told me that they have real cash money to spend. 3. Currency is being exchanged on the Forex across myriad currencies today. 4. Adding the ZIM to the Forex will go unnoticed by the rest of the world. November 5, 2016. Reasons for the GCR delay from one who believes, why can't I exchange at lower rate now? One who believes, the 4th of December 2016. 1. This is more than an exchange. When this officially goes, it begins a sequence of events that is massive. They can't just do the exchange part without it immediately leading to the rest of the plan rolling out on a schedule. 2. First it is the exchange, then implementation of Nazara, then mass arrests, then most of the Congress and other higher-ranking public officials will be removed from office, and the list goes on and on. 3. That is what most of the opposition is to the GCR. The people trying to hold this up don't want their way of life to end. They, A, want the money for themselves somehow, B, want to keep the money from getting to the currency holders, C, don't want to be removed from office, and D, don't want to be arrested. 4. The new powers that we can't start the GCR until they are ready to go all the way without stopping. 5. We can't have the GCR until the rest is ready to go as well. That's okay because it is almost here, maybe even today. 6. As far as everybody getting money, it will happen eventually, but they need help between now and then. Once they have their monthly income, we will still be working on the bigger humanitarian projects that we were funded for. It is a really good plan. J. December 5, 2016, 1:27 p.m. EST. Fulford Report, the dominoes keep falling. Fulford Report, the 5th of December 2016. 1. The Khazarian Mafia dominoes keep falling one by one. The resignations or announced resignations of Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, French President François Hollande, European Parliament President Martin Schulz, New Zealand Prime Minister John Key, and the defeat of Khazarian drug-dealing gangster Nicolas Sarkozy are the latest falling dominoes. 2. There is now a major campaign unfolding to remove remaining senior Rothschild agents like Vladimir Putin of Russia, Chinese strongman 11 Jinping, Japanese slave Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Hitler daughter Angela Merkel in Germany, according to multiple sources in China, Russia, the US, Japan and elsewhere. 3. The shockwaves caused by the fall of Italy's Renzi will be the biggest for now, because it paves the way for the election of a five-star movement government that promises to leave their Eurozone. There will be a world of hurt in the Italian banking system as a result that will only speed up either the reintroduction of the Italian lira or else lead to the possible creation of a new Mediterranean currency, P2 Freemason sources say. 4. A Mediterranean currency would coexist with a revived Deutsche Mark that would take over the rump of the euro in Northern Europe, the sources say. 5. The Rothschilds and the bloodlines are fighting back hard and are pulling all the stops they can to try to prevent U.S. President-elect Donald Trump from taking power with their big push for voter counts in the U.S., sources in the U.S. Green Party, the Rothschild family and CIA all agree. The push is headed for a hard and fast 13th of December deadline mandated by Title III, U.S. Code, Section 5 that each of the individual American states must have concluded all controversies related to their voting and submit their electors for the 19th of December Electoral College vote to install that nation's next leader, CIA sources say. 6. The White Hats in the military and the agencies are fighting back with a major push to expose very real pedophilia and human sacrifice being carried out by the bloodline families. Judy note, we will be eternally grateful for those heroes who continue to bravely fight the cabal bankers' Ninth Circle satanic cult and their ongoing rape, torture and murder of innocent children. These heroes include the White Hats, Kevin Annett's International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State and Tim Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad. You can help in the eradication of this child exploitation and sex trafficking by donating your time and/or funds to the ITCS. Welcome to ITCS.org and the International Tribunal into Crimes of and Operation Underground Railroad, Operation Underground Railroad. To review my articles on this global elite international child exploitation ring, beforeitisnews.com web link. K. November 5, 2016 GCR Summary of Events for December 4, 2016, Restored Republic via GCR, update as of December 5, 2016.